Hey friends, welcome back to the Aligned Life-Stylist podcast where science meets soul and the healing becomes a journey back to who you truly are. I'm Corey and I'm so glad you're here. If you're new, welcome, welcome. If you're not new and you're coming back, thank you for coming back. I hope today's subject will be really helpful to you. But if you are new, just to let you know, this is a space for the bold, the curious, and for those who know that there's more to health than symptoms alone. So, together on this podcast, we explore the connection between your physical body, your emotional well being, your mental patterns, and spiritual nature through the lens of human design, through functional wellness, alternative healing, and the magical and mystical wisdom that has guided humanity for centuries. If you have ever felt like your body was trying to tell you something and maybe you're dealing with symptoms or something going on, you're in the right space because here we question conventional thinking. We look at honoring our intuition and uncovering the root cause of the imbalances that are causing problems emotionally and physically in our body so that we can live with more energy, purpose, and alignment. Because the truth is, true healing is not about becoming someone new. It's remembering about who you were before the world told you who to be. So, welcome, welcome. This is going to be a fun episode because, let me get on video here. This is going to be a fun episode only because this episode should be called, um, what's the universe going to surprise us with today? Or what is it that the universe wants us to know? So I have to tell you, I had a previously recorded podcast ready that I recorded with my good friend Sharon, who is a frequency and nervous system specialist. And we recorded an amazing podcast on duality. And I went to upload it this morning and it wasn't there. And so I saw it physically in my computer. It was there. So I know it was there. And so because I trust the universe, I think that the point is maybe that's not something we're ready to talk about yet, or listeners weren't wanting to hear about that right now. So we'll see if it magically pops back into my computer in the next several weeks or months or whenever it comes back, or maybe it never will. But we will record another podcast with Sharon, and maybe we'll just do a totally different subject to see what happens with that one. So if you are alive today and you're really tuning in, you know that there's some crazy things happening that you just can't explain. And so we kind of just have to trust that. So we're going to go with that today. And we're going to let the universe really tell us what to talk about. Because normally when I pull an oracle card, I don't read it prior. But today, this morning, I was going through my morning ritual and I was out on a walk. I just had all these thoughts going through my mind about, okay, what do I want to talk about today? And so I kind of had an idea. And then I thought, I'm going to pull a card and then I'm going to read the card and we'll see if my thoughts are in alignment with that. And they were quite a bit. But I wanted to kind of go more off what the card said because I actually really normally I'll just pull a card in a normal way. And today I used a pendulum and did it in a more deep way. So hopefully this will resonate with you because I just really feel like it's a card I would have never thought to pull for this subject. But some of us need to hear this, and that's why it's coming out. So before we jump into it, what I do want to do is let me just double check that we're good. Yeah, we're good. Okay. I want to talk a little bit about the Align community because if you've been listening to the podcast, you've seen me or you follow me anywhere, you've seen me post about the Align community. And I'm so excited for this community because I know it's what we need right now. It's just something that if you're in a space where you're like, I'm trying to become more knowledgeable about truth, I'm trying to decipher where I belong in this world, what the next steps are for me, how do I let go of my programming? How do I become more truly who I was meant to be here? How do I find my purpose? That is what this group is about. And so what we're going to do is I'm super excited because what I've done, and it's taken me a minute to figure this out, but I want to share it with you because if it resonates with you, you want to be part of this from the get-go. And it starts on September 1st, will be our first group community meeting. And they will be virtual. And in the past, I've done them on Zoom, but I wanted to figure out a way that we can keep them in a space where you can always access them as long as you're a member. Because what's going to happen is some people who are part of the membership are not going to be able to be on it every week. And I needed a way to get it out there in the least amount of time on my end of it. But I also wanted it to be available so you could go back into it. So thank you to Substack because they have created a back end paywall, and that's where I'm going to hold the membership. So the membership will be $44 a month. That gives you access to everything behind that paywall. So you're going to have human design information. I've already started recording the videos on what it means to be a manifester, a manifesting generator, a generator. So you can go in there and get more details. Like if you've had a reading with me or you've kind of looked up some stuff about your human design, you'll be able to go into that back end and get more detailed information. All of the community meetings will be posted back there. So as long as you're a member, you can go in there and rewatch any of the past episodes or not, well, I will have some podcast bonus episodes in there as well with different practitioners where we're going to go deeper on some specific topics. So you'll have that option, but you'll have every single weekly meeting that we have virtually, those will be live, but they're going to be recorded. So if you miss one or you join the membership later, you'll be able to access all of those. And what's going to be really fun, I'm so freaking excited about, is I started creating oracle cards, and the oracle cards each have a theme. So every week you're going to get a new oracle card with the theme of what we're doing that week. And then by the time I get through so many months of this, I'll have my full deck done. And then I'll have that as an offering. But you guys are going to be first. If you're in the membership, will be first to be part of releasing the oracle cards because each card will have a specific theme we're going to talk about that week. So we're going to start with really we're going to start off the first couple weeks of September of really dialing in on what you want. Like what is it you want? Like what I don't want to you say it as goals, but what do you want out of life? Like what are you wanting that's deep in you that you desire that you just are not taking advantage of or you're not quite sure how to get? We're going to start with the foundation of what it is that you want, and we're going to build into how that fits into purpose, things that we need to let go of to get there, and it'll just build every single week. So last time we did this, it just built upon itself, and it was really cool because it was a very small group last time, but every single person in there got something really specific. A couple of people were inspired to go have a major change in their life. So that's what my goal is whatever you need out of it, you're going to get. You just have to have the intention and you have to come and be present. And so I hope that most people will come live because the energy, everything is energy, and you're going to be more engaged if you're there live. And if we get in the habit of saying, oh, I'll just watch it later, believe me, I know that I say that and then I don't go back and watch it. And so it's going to be something that you want to commit to. It's going to be like taking a class that you're like, I'm going to graduate from this, and maybe we'll figure out an incentive to that, but I want it to be something that's going to help you grow. And so you're going to want to be part of it every single week. But so all of it's going to be housed in Substack, and we will do some Zooms during the month where we can see each other face to face because Substack doesn't allow that in their live recordings. But sometimes it will be more like a webinar where you can just talk in the chat. So it's going to be really, really awesome. But I want to go into the topic for today because the topic that it was going to be was about duality. And when we had our conversation on the podcast, it was actually really deep. And my gut was kind of like, this might need to go on the back end. This might not need to be just a regular podcast because it's a little bit deep. And if you're just getting into this kind of work, it might be overwhelming or weird to you. So we just thought, I think that's why it's not meant to be in my mainstream podcast. But today, as I was just thinking, there were some things I've thought about of what I've been going through. And really, I talk a lot about trusting your body, trusting what your body's trying to tell you. But the other aspect of that is trusting the universe, trusting higher power, trusting timing, and understanding that there is a plan for you and there's a purpose for you. And oftentimes when things don't line up the way we want them to, it's because the world hasn't caught up. Like if you have a really big goal or you have some desire or a purpose where you're like, I know that this is what I'm supposed to do, and you're going up against walls, there's always reasons why you have blocks. Oftentimes, though, it's just that the people you're supposed to be in front of, or the technology or whatever it is that you're going to need to get to that next point for yourself is not available yet, or the people aren't ready yet. So it's the timing just has to catch up just right. And so that comes back to getting really patient. And it's really hard because we live in a world that is just like, I want it now, microwave society, Amazon, you can get stuff delivered to your house the same exact day. Like it's crazy how conditioned we've become to, I want it now. And we're being so overly exposed to everything that's going on in the world that actually intensifies it because we can have information so quickly. But the reality is your purpose comes from growth. Anything worth doing in life, anything that's around purpose or growth or goals, a lot of it has to do with energetics. A lot of it has to do with your life path and what you actually designed to come here for. And that's outside of human design. I'm saying like your blueprint that you created with your higher power that said, these are the things I want to come and experience in this life. A lot of what happens in our life is based on the timing of that. So then we have to look at understanding ourselves, and that's where the human design comes in. And so we have to learn, okay, am I going against my true nature? Am I trusting what my body is telling me? So we're going to talk a lot about that. But I want to read the card because it was funny because when this came out, so normally when I have a specific way with shuffling the cards and letting a card pop out, and you guys, some of you have seen me do that. And today I thought I'm going to try something different because I really wasn't sure what to talk about today. And usually that's not hard for me. And so I thought, okay, so I got my cards out and I shuffled them up and I spread them in a fan. And this is how I used to pick cards is I'd spread them in a fan and I would put my hand across the fan and I would feel for warmth. And then the warmest card I would pick out. And I still love to do it that way. It's just not as fast. So I kind of stopped doing that. So today I spread the cards out and I'm like, well, this card's not for me. So I'm going to get my pendulum out. And so what was really interesting is I have my two favorite decks of cards. I'll show you. I've got Oracle of the Seven Energies if you're watching, and then I have the Inner Temple Oracle. Okay, so this one's from Colette Baron Reed, the Seven Energies, and the Inner Temple one is Rebecca Campbell. So these are my two favorites that I love. The Rebecca Campbell one is newer. So what I did is I got my trusty little pendulum out and I was like, I don't know which one to choose today. So the pendulum, and if you've ever used if you don't know how to use a pendulum, it's the fastest way for you to learn how to get answers with your own energetics. So I got the pendulum out and it immediately went to the inner temple one. And so that's the one that we're going to go with today. And so then as I spread the cards out, I let the pendulum swing towards the card. Well, there's so many cards that it was hard to choose, know exactly which one. So I just kept narrowing it down and narrowing it down. And if you've ever used a pendulum, let me go back to that. When you hold it still, you get it to where it's really still. And then for those of you watching, I'll pull mine out. My cute little grandbaby dropped it and broke the tip of it, but it doesn't matter. You can use a necklace, you can use a purse, you can anything that swings. So when you use a pendulum, you just hold it and you get it really steady. And what you'll notice is then you ask your question and it will swing to where you want it to go. So you can imagine I have all the cards spread out and the pendulum starts swinging like this direction. Okay, I'm making it happen now. So the pendulum starts going like this. Well, there's like 5 cards right there. So I separate all the cards outside of those 5 cards and I spread those out and it literally went to the card that we're going to talk about today. It still amazes me how that works, how that energy works. How does it know? So the card I picked today, I kind of was like, that doesn't really go along with my thoughts. But as I read into it, then it went along with my thoughts. And so I love that because then it ties in kind of what I've been thinking about sharing today. But the card I picked is sensuality. So you've got this beautiful lady, there's a rose. When I look at that, it's about self-love, self-care, protection. When we think of sensuality, we sometimes think of more sexual things, and that is not what sensuality is. There's an aspect of that, but I think my human side, when I picked that up, went, oh, sensuality, that's not what I was going to talk about today. But when I read the description, you're going to understand what I'm saying, and then we'll get into the subject. So Sensuality is different from sexuality. Sensuality embraces the pleasures of life. Sensuality is of the senses, and the senses are of the body. The best way to get into the present moment and connect with the pulse of life is to become aware of your senses. Smell, taste, touch. What do you feel? What do you see? What do you hear? Listen with your whole body. Experience life more fully. The body's senses are so often repressed or numbed out. Savoring them is a spiritual practice. Returning to them is deeply healing, and it's the body. The body is the way home. Without the senses, deep joy is not possible. Without the senses, pleasure isn't possible. Without the senses, intuition isn't possible. The body is intuitive. The sensual body is sacred. Return to the present moment through the gateway of your senses. Return to the pleasure of life through the gateway of your senses. Did I read that twice? Oh, return to the present moment with the gateway of your senses. Return to the pleasures of life through the gateway of your senses. Okay. Um, Caress yourself, embrace yourself, experience yourself more fully. Receive the pleasure of this human life through your body's senses. This card is an invitation to receive more pleasure, to slow down and taste life a little more deeply, to make decisions based on what would bring more joy and bliss rather than being driven by shoulds and duty. What makes you feel more alive? How can you, okay, that was a question. Sorry. What makes you feel more alive? How can you embrace your sensuality a little bit more? And how can you taste life a little bit more fully? So your inner temple activation is, I choose to drop more fully into my sensual true nature and allow myself to receive the pleasure of life, through my body senses. So I love that because what I was thinking about talking about today was, again, trusting the way that our body feels, which I talk about a lot with human design and how we need to go with our body's feeling before the logical feeling, right? So we can do that, but with the cards taking it to a deeper level. And so if you're someone that struggles to get present, the best way for you to get present is through sensuality, through touch, through smell, through taste, through your vision. And so if you need to just get really quiet and get present, one of my favorite things to do is to go outside and just really pay attention to what is outside. Like in my backyard, I have all of these trees and there's so many different colors of green that sometimes I'll look out there and it's incredible. And what's interesting is sometimes I can see like an aura around the trees and it just makes me think, ooh, what are the trees thinking and talking about? So lately in the last couple of, I don't know, like 3 or 4 days, I've been wondering where the hummingbirds are. We have hummingbirds everywhere right now. So it's just sitting out there and it kind of takes your mind off of everything. And when your mind is shut down, that's where your answers come. That's where when you're stuck or you're lost or you're in fear or you don't know what decision to make, it's in that space of getting quiet. And for many of us, it's really hard to shut our mind off and get to that place. And so we have to do certain activities. There's certain music that will shut my mind off. I've talked before about how gardening, playing in the dirt shuts it off. But just going out and getting focused on what's there. Look at the blades of grass, look at the leaves, walk through your yard and try to look for something that you've never noticed before. Get back in touch with the reality of the beauty of life. Okay. So some of the things I want to talk about today is I just want to ask you a few questions. As we're talking about that, and we're talking about how our body feels, I want you to think about what feelings are you ignoring? And I'll put these questions in the show notes, but think about what feelings are you ignoring? And they can be feelings like promptings of something that you need to do, or they could be feelings like in your body of things you're doing that just don't feel comfortable or feel right. When you understand your human design, it gets easier and easier for you to listen to your body because it doesn't steer you wrong. And one of the things that one of the disclaimers I've kind of liked to make lately about human design is that it's not 100%. It's 100% of it will not resonate with you. For some people like me, almost 100% of it resonates with me. And the more I learn about myself, the more I'm like, okay, That totally resonates. But I want you to know that whatever you are needing to take from it is what will resonate with you. So if some of the deeper stuff just doesn't really resonate, or you're like, I don't get how it can know this about me, I always go back to your type, strategy, and authority. And I'm actually going to do a class at the end of September or at the end of August that you can participate online to go over those with you so that you really can deeply understand those, especially for people that are going to come into the membership. If you are a founding member of the membership, you actually get a free human, or not a free, sorry. Oh, bleep. You get a half price human design reading with me. And that is going to be really valuable to have those basic understandings of your human design as you come into the membership, because we are going to work with those each week. We're going to touch on parts of that and how you can integrate your own personal human design into the subject that we're working on. So back to why I'm bringing that up is that your body always knows what's truth for you. Your body will always tell you, like when you walk in a room, your body feels the energy of the room. When you meet a new person, you either are super attracted to them or you're like, oh, I don't know, because your body is sensing everything. I believe that we came here to meet and connect with specific people, that they're part of our life chart, that we have certain people that we have agreements with that are going to playing a part in our life. And they can be people who are not good in our life that are showing us and reminding us something, or they can be like bestie friends that we're going to do life with, right? And so when we can start to understand how our body tells us these things, we can stop thinking and overthinking and being like, why do I not want to hang out with that person? Or why do I feel uncomfortable when I'm with this person? Their energy is going to tell you the minute that you meet them if you learn how to understand your own energetics. So we've all had that situation where we dread going somewhere because we're like, oh, the energy there is going to be so yucky. Or we dread going to work because this one coworker just has this way of, whether it's verbal or not, we don't like it, right? And so when you can start to understand that, you have to remember we always can learn from people. People come into our lives to teach us something that we're here to learn, to bring up something that needs to be healed, something that needs to be recognized or acknowledged for our growth. But we also get to choose, do we continue to engage in those relationships that make us feel yucky? So back to the question, what are you ignoring? What is your body and what are your and even emotional feelings? So we're not talking about thoughts, we're talking about feelings. So anger, what's causing you anger? What's causing you frustration? What's causing you resentment? What causes you to be happy? What makes you excited? Like, start really paying attention to the feeling. What feelings are you ignoring? So I'm trying to think of an example that I've had just recently. Sometimes our feelings from the past will bring up feelings that prevent us from moving forward. So let me give you an example of this. So if you know your strategy and authority, you can plug your strategy and authority into this. But my strategy is to to respond. So as a generator or a manifesting generator, your strategy is to respond, meaning you respond to cues from the outside world and to what is for you. We have been taught, now that would be sacral, and then I have a sacral authority, okay? So we've been taught to just go after whatever we think. Oh, that looks like that'd be good. Oh, somebody told me that I should do this. So I'm going to so you're constantly initiating, right? We've been programmed to initiate, and to chase things. Well, if you have a strategy to respond, it means you only respond to what the universe puts in front of you. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't come up with ideas that you want to initiate, but you don't want to act on them until the universe comes back and says, hey, that was a good idea. Okay. So my sacral authority tells me if it's a yes or a no, and it gives me an immediate yes or no. It's a uh-huh and a uh-uh. And if it's not yes or no and it's a maybe, then it's a no for now. So we have some really great friends that we love to hang out with. Amazing people. Like we have been so lucky to meet just salt of the earth, great people, shirt off your back, amazing people. I just feel super blessed at the variety of people that I've gotten to meet and that I get to have in my life. And so I was we got invited to a party at somebody's house that I didn't know. Okay. So because of my own energetics, I'm very aware of if I'm going to put myself in a situation with a bunch of people that I don't know, I know how my energy works with that and what I pick up from people. And so I'm very leery of doing that. So when it came up, I was like, okay, I wasn't getting 100% yes, right? So I was like, let me wait and see what to respond to. So here's the situation. You have an invitation to go to an event. I wasn't feeling a direct yes to that, okay? But I wasn't feeling a direct no either. So I couldn't say no and I couldn't say yes. And so what I've learned to do with people is to just say, you know what? I can't commit to it now, but I will let you know. And some of my close friends, I've had to actually explain that the reason I'm not committing is not personal to you. It's just that I have to feel good about it, like 100%, so that my energy is good for everybody that's there. Because if my energy is yucky, then it's going to affect everybody else's in different ways, depending on their open centers. So it kept coming up in conversation. I was kind of like, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. And literally until the afternoon of, I was just like, yeah, I don't know. I just can't commit to that right now. And so Saturday afternoon, I just was like, okay, yeah, I want to go. Yeah, let's go. It's going to be fun. So we go and we meet just a bunch of new people. They were all really great people. The energy was amazing. We had a great time. We stayed way longer than we thought we were going to stay. And I'm telling you all of that because when you understand your strategy and authority and you actually put it into play in your life, you will stop having anger and resentment. You will, because one of my big things would be I would commit to things and I'd be resentful, but then I would have all this guilt about backing out. So I would go to things and, when I'm doing an event or something that's supposed to be fun and positive, I don't want negative energy there. So I'm very aware of when I go to something, what my energy carries if I'm in a yucky space. And I've been in places recently where I knew my energy was bad and people were picking it up. And they're like, "Why is the energy weird?" And I'm like, "It's just me. It's me." So when you can start to really understand that, that's why I wanted you to get into the feeling, what feels right. So again, strategy and authority. When you get into the paid membership, you can go in and I know I've started some of those. I've got the types in there, but my goal is to, in the next week or two, have that completely so they're all in there. Or you can just do a one-on-one reading, or you can go look it up somewhere. But understand your strategy and authority and also your type, because that's going to tell you how to take action, when to take action, what you're here to do, how your energy works, okay? And so I really want you to think about what feelings are you ignoring? And I would love comments about this as you work through it in your journal. I would love you to come back and be like, yeah, the feeling I was ignoring was this, and now I see what's happening with that. So what feelings are you ignoring? Are you ignoring those promptings that are like, yeah, you need to change jobs, but that's scary, so you're ignoring that? Are you ignoring that you're not standing up for yourself? Are you ignoring that your voice needs to, like I had a situation about a week ago where I wanted to say something so badly and I knew I needed to say it and I didn't. And the next morning I woke up with a sore throat. And so I knew that that's what it was. I actually have a little bit of a theory that Epstein-Barr comes from because one of the big symptoms that people with Epstein-Barr have consistently is a sore throat. I think it comes from not speaking your truth because it's a very common autoimmune that women have. Everybody has it. Everybody carries mono, and it comes from mono. So, and I'm not saying men don't get it, but I do. I just in my research and just my gut just says it comes from us not speaking our truth because that's where the sore throat comes from. Okay. And as I've worked through my own physical health, I've realized like when I can't breathe and my asthma gets really bad, my asthma's bad right now because of, there's a lot of fires, unfortunately, going on here, like worst fires in history here in Utah. It's devastating. So that's affecting my breathing, but I've been coughing more in the last little while than ever. And what I've started to notice is that when I get that cough, but there's a feeling of weight on my chest, that's heart chakra area. That's because my heart is hurting. Okay, so the energetics of that heart chakra come into play. And so then I've learned how to release that. But when you start to recognize these symptoms in your body and what they mean, they're all connected to something emotional or energetic in some way. So when you start to really sit and think about and have thought about, okay, why am I feeling this? Why do I have a sore throat? Why do I consistently get a headache? Why do I consistently have pain in a certain part of my body? It's connected to something, I promise you. So start paying attention to what you're feeling. And I would say get a journal out and every night before you go to bed, start writing down the feelings that you ignored, like the feelings of, I didn't like what that person said to me, or I went to this thing and it didn't feel good. But also start writing down the physical feelings that are going on in your body. Because if you start kind of asking for the answers and putting the puzzle pieces together, your higher power will give you the answers that you need. So if you're struggling with like health symptoms and you're like, I don't even know what to do with this, then you've got to really go, okay, where's it really coming from? There's a physical aspect to it, and you may need certain nutrients. You may need to do a liver detox or a myriad of other things to help expedite it. But until you address the root cause of it from an emotional, energetic standpoint, it will keep coming back. And that's not a bad thing because, like, when my cough comes back, that just makes me aware of there's somewhere that I'm not forgiving or that I'm not having some self trust or some self love. So, I really hope that you'll get that of the connecting the dots. And the only way you're going to do it is if you really focus on it. And the best way to do that is every day write it down or just carry a little notebook with you. And every time you have a physical body feeling, write it down and start looking at your patterns. One of the things that I'm really good at with clients is looking at their patterns. Somebody can tell me what's going on, and I can literally be like, well, look what you keep doing. But some of us can't see that for ourselves. We have to have somebody show it to us. But you can start to piece the puzzle pieces together on your own if you start paying attention. And that's the reality is most of us are not paying attention. Right now, life is really just, it's like really amazing right now. And it's really a mess. Like it's really like, what is happening right now? That's my new favorite phrase is what is happening right now because it's just a surprise. But if you can look at it in a positive way, it's like, what are you going to surprise me with next? There are very few things that are going to be catastrophic for you to experience. And if you start to listen to those feelings in your body, you'll avoid a lot of those. Okay. There's some things we can't control. Well, there's everything we can't control, but we can control how we respond to things. So pay attention to what are you allowing yourself to get involved in that you now have to respond to, that you have to take on the energetics of it, right? For some of us, it means just shutting down completely. Like I go through a phase probably every year where I just am like, I don't want to do anything with friends. I just want to be with me. And that's it. And I always kind of feel guilty about it because it's very easy for me to just be like, yeah, no, I don't want to do that. And it's things that I would normally love to do. But what I've learned with my pattern is that energetically, I am so aware of and taking on sometimes other people's energy that I just have to close off to it for a while. Most of you have some sort of protection in your chart that says you need to allow this to happen. And for some of you, it's more than others. Some of it's like a daily thing that you need to do. So write down the feelings that you're ignoring and just pick one or two. Like if you've got a lot of stuff that's coming up while we're talking here, pick just the big ones. Pick the one that's standing out the very, very most, because these are the kinds of things we're going to work on in the community. What are you depriving yourself from? So what are you saying no to that you should be saying yes? Kind of start thinking, what do I say yes to that I really want to say no to? Okay, then that goes back to your strategy and authority. Trusting that will make you say yes to the correct things. And what am I not saying yes to that I really want? Like, do you want to go on that vacation? Do you want to get exercising and you're allowing other people to stop that because you've committed to too many things? Do you want more peace in your life? Do you want to start engaging in more spiritual activities or doing like things like sound baths and breath work? And do you want to take some courses? Like, what do you want? What is it that you want? Like, if sky was the limit And you could have anything you could do anything you wanted. Okay. Money's no object. Most people, when I ask them that question, they give me the deer in the headlights. Like, I don't know what I would do. And I've come down to it that most of the time there's so many things that they can't really pinpoint a specific thing. But most women, when they hit about early 40s, they really feel like they've lost their selves and they don't know really what their purpose is. I was just having a discussion with somebody earlier today about how nobody talks about it. It's starting to be talked about a lot more than it ever has been. But people didn't used to talk about when you become an empty nester and all your kids are gone and what a grieving period that is to be a mom, especially for those of us that were pretty full-time moms. And then have everybody be gone and nobody needs you. And that was your full identity. That's what you did. Somebody always needed a ride. Somebody needed you to help them with their homework. Somebody needed dinner. That is a very devastating place to be, but we don't really acknowledge it. It's kind of like when you have a baby. Like when you go have a baby, you birth this child and you're in the hospital for a day or two, and then they just hand you this baby and they're like, good luck. Nobody talks to you about how hard the birth was, how maybe you had some birth trauma. It's just like, here you go, good luck. And so these are the things that as women and as the feminines coming back, we're going to talk about these things because they are important. We've gone through some major events in life that just are like, that are treated like what'd you have for breakfast? So that empty nester thing is really a thing, and it's a grieving process, and you've got to start figuring out at that point. I would do it before. If you've got kids that are in their last years of high school, start thinking about, what am I going to do with my life when it's done? Because many people have been stay-at-home moms and they don't know what to do with themselves because they don't have an education, they didn't have a job for a long time. They've kind of they're like, well, how do I get into the job situation when I haven't worked a regular job? I'll tell you what, as a mom, you have all the experience you need. Your life experiences or qualifications for jobs. But most of us don't understand that. I think moms are probably the best job candidates for pretty much any job because we wear so many hats, right? So you want to start figuring out your identity. Now, if you've been working all these years and it comes along that your kids are not needing you and you have all this free time maybe in the evening now, so you're still going to have the same thing. It's still like what do I do with my time now? And if you don't have children or you haven't had children yet, there are parts and times in your life where you're just like, what do I do next? I don't know what to do now. So what I really want to get you thinking about is, what are you not doing that you would love to do? Like, some of you would love to volunteer. Some of you would love to teach a course on something. Some of you have massive talents that you don't think your gifts, like when I do a human design chart where we get into gifts with people, you think that the things that come easy to you come easy to everyone. Your gifts are so specific to you that it's like other people just look at you with awe on something that you can do so easily. And that's what's fun about getting a design chart done, one where we look into your gifts, or which would be your gates, is that you get to start going, oh my gosh, that's a gift. I thought everyone could do that. And when you start to understand that the things that come easy to you are actually gifts that you're actually supposed to use in the world. So I have a gift of possibility. Like, I'm able to talk to, when I teach, I can open up people's minds to possibility, that anything is possible. Does it work for me? No, not very often, but I'm able to do that for other people. So when you understand that, you may have a gift of being a teacher. You may have a gift of communication. You may have a gift of integrity. I've talked about this, I think, before a while ago, so I'll talk about it a little bit more, is I have a specific gift that is about integrity, and it's holding people in powerful positions into integrity. So my whole entire life, I've been a snot, like a smart, like as a child, it was obstinate, right? So if somebody was like out of integrity, even as a child, I'd be like, no, I don't have to do that, right? And so the programming comes in and is like, you're being disrespectful. That's not okay. So we stop using that gift. So what should have been done, had the people in my life known how to do this and known that that was a gift, they would have said, look, let's listen to what she has to say, but let's teach her how to say it in the correct way. She needs to voice that opinion. And really, our kids are showing us things. We had an episode a couple of weeks ago with Julietta on human design, and we talked about how her son is a line five. I'm a line five. And she was saying, sometimes my son will just say stuff. And I'm like, and she's like, it cuts. Like, I'm like, what did you just say? But I'm like, yeah. And he's telling the truth to you. He's showing you something that you're either ignoring, you're not seeing, whatever. So that is a gift. So back to the integrity one, it's what makes it really hard for me to have a job, especially in corporate America, because there's so much lack of integrity. And so when I was going through the stuff with my uniform, I was writing letters to the board and to the CEO, and I was like, where's the integrity? Where's the integrity? You can see people are suffering. And I even had a conversation with my supervisor, and I said to her, how can you come to work every day and have zero integrity about what's going on because all you care about is keeping your job? And I get it. I 100% get it, because someone who doesn't understand the bigger picture, they're going to worry about their job, right? They're not going to stand up, especially if they don't have the gift of integrity. So what I didn't understand, because I didn't learn about human design until a few years after all that happened, and then going through a couple of other experiences in jobs where I was like, oh, number one, my delivery is harsh, right? That comes out in every relationship. It's never intended to be. I try to tiptoe it. But the reality is that sometimes people need to hear it in a certain way for them to get it. And that's what a five is for. A five is going to tell it to you exactly how it is. They're not going to sugarcoat it. They're just going to say it how it is. Well, then you pair that with the integrity gift, and it's like, oh, I'm going to hold you accountable, and I'm going to tell you when you're out of integrity. So, anyways, you all have specific gifts, and those specific gifts are for you. So if you're really good at organizing, it's probably in your chart somewhere. You go into some people's house and you're like, how do people live with all this clutter? And then you go to your house and people are like, how do you not have anything out of place? Now, you have to recognize, and this is why knowing your gifts is important, because some people, the need to control their environment in a way that it's perfection is trauma. Okay. So for me, for a long time, a big part of my life, I could control how clean my house was, and I could control what it looked like on the outside to other people. And so I tried to keep everything looking perfect in my house. Okay. Now I just like it to be clean and tidy. I don't do well with clutter. Like even having this shelf behind me with all this stuff on it, that's a lot of stuff for me. So understanding your gifts is going to help you understand also what you love to do. So I have a gift of adventure. I love to push edges, have adventure. I have that in a couple places in my chart. So when somebody says to me, hey, do you want to do that? Then again comes my strategy and authority that's like, yes, 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 100% yes. Okay. So I just want to really help you understand that knowing these minor parts of how your body works and how the feelings work for you will be life-changing for you. So going back to, what are you depriving yourself of? Are you depriving yourself of rest? Are you depriving yourself of fun? Are you just doing everything for everyone? Are you depriving yourself of respect and love? So what is it you're depriving yourself of? Because I want you to just get to the root of where the misalignment is, okay? Because once you start respecting the feelings, things will start to come into alignment. So what is your body craving? So I'll tell you, I haven't been very hungry lately, but what I realize is that because I haven't been hungry, my body's not getting the nourishment that it needs. And so I've really dialed in on trying to focus on trying to eat more protein every day, even if I'm not hungry. So I've just been trying to find things that have a lot of protein that are real food. I'm not a believer in protein bars. It's not the same. It's better than nothing, but you're bringing a whole bunch of other crud into it that you don't need. And there are some good healthy protein bars out there. I have some in my pantry, but I really only eat them out of desperation. So you've got to find, what is your body craving? Mine was craving protein. Mine was craving just to let go of hustle. So what is your body just trying to tell you and you're not listening? And then, oh, I can't even read my own writing. Hold on, I had one more question on there. Oh, what is trying to come through? So what do you like intuitively know that's trying to come forward that you're not allowing? So if you're a manifesting generator, you have tons of ideas and and it's even especially too if you have an open head, it's just like so many ideas, right? So we have to learn to dial in on the correct ideas. And I struggle with that because I'll get an idea and I'll be like, oh, that is awesome. I'm going to do that. And then it will kind of fizzle off and then I'll have wasted time. Now, what's cool about that is that most of the time it comes back around full circle. I'll be like, oh, yeah, I learned that the other day, so I can implement that. But there's certain things that you're here to do and to teach and to show and to represent in the world. And so you've got to start feeling for what's trying to come through. The other thing that you have to really begin to trust is timing. So I have some stuff I've been working on for a while. And the test for me in the last few couple of months has been timing. It's been just trust the timing. And I'm telling you, it's really, really, really hard. But if you got the inspirational download, things lined up, you knew it was a yes for you, that didn't change. It may have just changed the way you're going about it. Or it may, a lot of times, mean the timing hasn't lined up, right? So we talked about that earlier, is that the universe hasn't caught the world we know, the world we live in has not caught up to what you got ready. So that's where it comes to, as a generator, a manifesting generator, keeping yourself busy using that life force energy on things that light you up, because that makes you more magnetic than anything. When you are doing the things that you love, it like increases your aura. It makes you magnetic to what's for you. And so what happens is sometimes we come up against a block or a dead end or a wall, or the timing's not right, and we get really frustrated, and then we kind of panic, and then we second guess ourselves. But the reality is the universe is just saying, go do something fun, and let's keep your energy up and keep you in that magnetic space so that when that opportunity is ready, you are ready to receive it. Okay. So there is it's like preparing for the meeting. It's preparing for it to come to you, but you got to be paying attention and you've got to be energetically ready. So if you're down here energetically and you're like, oh man, nothing ever works for me. I thought this was the right thing. I thought this was what I was going to do. And you're just down here, and the high energy things that you're trying to attract are up here, then guess what? They can never match. So your job is you're like, okay, this is what I'm trying to create, or this is what I want, and it's up here. Doing the things that light you up, that make you excited, are what give you, that boost that energy and get you to that energy level to match up with what you're seeking. But that takes time. So trust the timing. So I will put those 4 questions in the show notes so that you can go back and journal on them if you want to. But pay attention to what you're focusing on, because what you give attention to is what is growing. So for me, my biggest lesson in this in my whole life was when I worried about my finances, I continually got things put in front of me that made me worry about my finances. And when I begin to trust and be like, you know what? I'm always being taken care of. As long as I do what I'm here to do, I will be taken care of. So think about what you're focusing on. Like right now, my major focus is on this membership and making it so incredible. And I'm so excited to see the growth and the things that come from this group, and the sharing and the friendships and connections that are made. Like, one of my gifts is being a connector, and it's crazy to me how fast those connections happen if I can connect people. So I'm just excited to see what comes of it. But because I have integrity and because of who I am, I want it to be amazing. And that's why I've been putting it off, because the timing had to be just right, where I could put the time into it, where I was excited about it, where I knew the right people would be ready. And that's why we're starting in September. So trust the timing, be patient, use your strategy and authority so you know if it's a timing thing. Okay. Sometimes if you're a manifesting generator, you just need to pivot. So you might have a specific like plan in mind. And yes, it might be timing before that all comes into fruition, but it may be that you just need to pivot something a teeny bit so that you can match up to the energetic that brings you what you're trying to get. So I talk a lot about the manifesting generator because I can relate to that, but each human design has an aspect of that. Manifestors are here to initiate. They're here to inform, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to initiate this. And then they pass it on to the workers who are mostly generators, but manifesting generators are that as well. Projectors are here to see the whole picture, to be like, let me show you where you need to change things around. So I've noticed that a lot of my projector friends are psychics. We all have psychic abilities, but the ones that are like true mediums, they tend to be projectors so far in my experience. And it's because they just have ability to see more than what we can see. And then, so here's what I would encourage you to do. If any of this resonates with you as far as the human design goes, you can go I use Genetic Matrix. I don't have a link for that. I can see if I can find one, but you can go into Jovian Archive and you can pull up your chart. Your type is going to be generator, manifesting generator, manifester, reflector, or projector. There are 5 types. You're going to be one of those. There's only a couple of strategies, and then there's a handful of authorities. So that's all I want you to ever focus on right now, because until you're working with someone that can help you, you can buy books and go deeper into your gifts and into all the parts of your chart. But here's what I want you to understand about what's happening with virtual reality. I just had this chat with one of my friends that does, you've met Marilyn, she does feng shui and Chinese astrology. And so we were talking about ChatGPT. ChatGPT has a lot of knowledge. And there's a part of me that thinks that ChatGPT is actually a connection to higher knowledge, higher power knowledge, if you are using it correctly. But what I've noticed for me is that it becomes a distraction. It becomes something that you can depend on. It becomes something easy for you to lose your critical thinking and go, oh, I'm just going to ask ChatGPT. And so what's happening now is we don't know what's true and what's not true. And so in this conversation where you're talking about with what we do, somebody can absolutely put their chart into your human design chart into ChatGPT. It's only about 40 to 50% correct. So your chart is literally the blueprint of what you came here to do, your purpose, how to get there, how to do what you're here to do, okay? To really understand who you are and how you operate. You do not want to put that into a system that is only 40 to 50% correct, because then you're going to give information that's going to be wrong and put you on the wrong trajectory energetically. So yes, it can give you amazing information. And those basics that I told you about, you can find out a lot about those. Those are pretty correct. What I've noticed is that when you get into asking it too many questions and you get into all the channels and the gates and all the things, that's where it gets confused. And it gets confused on some really basic stuff too, in general things that I've asked it. So I just want to really caution you not to trust it. But back to the conversation we were having is, there is no replacement for human energetics. You cannot when someone sits in my office or goes to have energy read or a chart, whether it's astrology, Western, Eastern, human design, when you go have that done with somebody else, that other person has specific energetics that can pick up on things about you. They have a knowledge of whatever it is that you're there to learn, that they can take that knowledge and intertwine it with your energetics that they're actually feeling because they're on a screen with you, or even better, in an office with you. So I just want to make it really clear that if you're serious about these, if you find something that you really feel like you need to dive deep into, go to somebody who does it professionally, because you cannot replace the human energetics. You can't. You never can. I have people all the time that'll be like, oh, your job's going to be obsolete because people can just go put it into ChatGPT. And I'm like, it'll never be obsolete, because ChatGPT will never have human energetics. ChatGPT will never be able to sit with somebody and look at their chart and then go, oh, I can feel that this is what's happening with you and you're not telling me, but I know that this is what's happening with you. ChatGPT can only go off what you're telling it. So be very cautious. I think it has a lot of potential for good things. It has a lot of potential for bad things. And you have to be really intentional and conscious and aware of how you're using it. But if you are in a place where you're just serious about, I got to get my shit together, I got to figure out why I'm here. I'm tired of doing the same thing every day. I'm tired of being bored, stressed out, frustrated, tired, not feeling good, having symptoms. If that is all things that resonate with you, come and join the Align membership because it's where I guarantee you're going to love it. Do it for a month. It's such a small fee. I probably won't keep it that low for very long just because I want to keep it inexpensive enough for people to be able to participate, but I also believe very much in energy exchange. And if I'm going to put into it what I know will really help you, then I have to get the exact energy exchange. So I don't know. It may stay that price forever, but we're just going to play with that. We'll keep it down at that price for a while. And then I just can't wait to see what it turns into. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me. Thank you for being here. Um, to I lost my train of thought. Yeah, join the membership. If you want a one-on-one reading, I do a couple of those a week. I don't do a lot of one-on-one readings. So if you want to get in, get a hold of me so that you can get in. And I'm just glad you're here. And I hope that you'll come back. And I appreciate your time. And I just really hope you got something out of it. And I will see you all next week. And we'll have another fun surprise because I don't even know what we're going to do next week. Okay. Have a great day. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.